Hey, have you started your spring garden yet? But did you know black and brown people across the world are reconnecting to their roots and redefining their relationships with the land by gardening and farming? And Black Gardener Talk is dedicated to sharing those voices to inspire all people of color and maybe even some that don't look like us to grow by any means necessary. But sometimes we just need our own safe space to talk. Good morning, I'm Kamani Anku, and this is Black Gardener Talk. And my guest today is Calvin Hines Jr., aka JR, the Mushroom Man. Okay, folks, I'm back. We have some technical difficulties this morning, but hey, I'm back. Let me get JR in the room. Listen up. Hello, hello. I see you. I hear you. What's going on? Oh, there you go.
I'm good.
I don't know.
How you
This
doing?
computer be acting funny sometimes with this phone, and I got a iPhone 16. It should not be acting up. What's going on with
Hey,
you?
look, I'm good, man. Technology, man, it's our best friend and our worst
Yes,
enemy sometimes. So
I hear
I
that.
I,
But
I have my rinky-dink
okay,
Android.
see,
I, I mess up a lot of group chats.
and pictures. When you send the pictures, to be like them little small pictures to the iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what. Oh well, I'm glad to have you on this morning, and we're gonna get through it. Folks, it's some technical stuff going on. I can't see any comments, but we're here. Take some notes now because I got some good questions for Jr. AKA Calvin. I'm gonna call him Jr. For the remainder of the time, y'all. But go into like what was some of your early memories of gardening first, and then we're gonna get into all the mushroom stuff.
Uh, uh, I have a few, man. I grew up in the era in DC where a lot of people had, gardens in the backyard. So I remember my godmother's mother, she would do a lot of, she had a small garden in her backyard. She'd do a lot of canning and stuff when we were growing up.
Okay.
And I remember, certain people had, different kind of, you walk down the street, maybe a pear tree in somebody's yard or whatever. And then I remember my mom getting in the soil too when we moved and got our first
Oh,
house.
okay.
Um, over in on this side of the river, and her kind of digging in the soil and getting her uh, flowers ready or whatever. So she was big into that.
Okay, that's what's up. So now it's 2025. Wow, we never thought we'd get here, right? we done, we'll be having some flying cars by now, like the Jetsons and stuff. From
Right.
early gardening memories to now growing mushrooms. What made JR decide he wants to start growing mushrooms?
Well, it came out of a different idea. So my wife and I bought our house in 2017. I grew up in Southeast. I grew up in Ward 7, moved into Ward 8 in 2017. You do the normal things. You unpack, and then you open up your refrigerator like, oh, let's go get some groceries. And after a while, I got sick of making that 4 mile trip to go get groceries. So 2 miles going, 2 miles back. And I initially wanted to create an affordable grocery store that was closer to me because I was being a little lazy and a little pissed off too.
What they
So it
say,
started out with that.
real quick, they
Yeah.
do say if it's 0.5 miles away, if the next grocery store is 0.5 away, that is considered like a farm. I mean, a grocery store desert, food desert. It was just interesting.
Which is leading into exactly how I got to this point. So when I was researching the grocery store concepts, I was like, well, how can I make it affordable? There are different ways, that I could make it affordable. A whole bunch of ideas, but that's a whole separate podcast in grocery stores. But I kept coming across that term, food desert, and realized that problem in itself is larger than just putting a grocery store somewhere. So,
Mm-hmm.
what sense does it make to put a grocery store somewhere where people can't afford to get it? I don't care what how affordable you try to make it, the business won't survive, and it won't do anybody any good if it closed down. So, I started studying international initiatives. So I looked at Ward 7 and Ward 8 like a small country.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, what has been done internationally that has improved food access, healthy food access, and also improved the local economy, stimulate the local economy. And I found Cuba and what they went through, what they call their the special periods when they went through an economic depression. It lasted from 1991 to about 2000. And one of the interesting things that I saw in there from 1999 to about 2006, so under 10 years, they were able to employ the employment for urban agriculture went from 9,000 people to 44,000 people. So I was like, oh man, this is amazing. So I can take this concept and I'm pretty sure I can mimic it in Ward 7 and Ward
Okay.
8. I came across a young man named Curtis Stone who's doing some stuff up in Canada where he has a satellite system which we're mimicking, where he uses lawn space to farm, up to an acre of land without having a whole set. So he just kind of separates it. So I said, well, the next progression to that was me getting into this field, even though I've spent the time studying, but I want to minimize the risk. So
Okay.
I don't know how I ran into it, but just going into mushrooms, it was like I can control the climate and kind of control more of the variables there. So it just kind of led into looking at shipping containers, how we can put these things into yards, make it mobile, and it went from there. So
Okay.
it was really a process from 2017 until we launched late last year in the fourth quarter.
Cool. And you had no prior experience with mushrooms prior to this. Did you consume mushrooms? Did you think it was a good thing to eat mushrooms? Help some illness. Some people going to not eating meat anymore and started eating mushrooms
Right.
because of health benefits or they got sick and different things. So no prior experience with mushrooms. This is all in. JR is all in on this.
Yeah, for the most part, it was just like any normal person. Like I would eat stuff on my pizza or in my salad. I do like working out. I'm a former athlete, so I would take supplements here and there. So I kind of knew of the benefits, but as far as like growing, no, my background was in wine.
Okay.
So I went from studying wine grapes and how to grow wine and make wine to how mushrooms work.
Okay, so we're in Southeast. We in the deep part of Southeast, right there, Elvis
Mhm.
Road, Morris Road. There's a tiny house, and you're growing mushrooms on it. How did that come about? I mean, because when I started working over in that area, I will drive past, and I was like, "What is this little house just sitting right here?" I had no clue what it was. What made you go the tiny house route, and what made you say, "I'm gonna plop it right down here in this neighborhood"?
Well, it was it was a pivot. So I was looking at doing it in shipping containers
Okay.
at first, and um, it was just one of those things. I was trying to figure out how to get something that was a little more affordable. Because you're doing when you're opening a business, you're looking at the cost, the startup costs, and all that stuff. And I ran into this company that does tiny houses out in California, and they had one for sale, and I was like, oh, and it kind of matched our logo color. And I said, well, let me jump on this. I have the opportunity to get it. And, we'll make it our proof of concept and see if it works. I purposely put it in the front so people like yourself and anyone else that drove past would be curious and inquisitive. So it was kind of a marketing thing. I could have put it
Okay.
in the backyard and nobody would have ever known what we're doing. But the whole purpose of this is to let people know that we're here and establish our footprint as DC's first commercial urban mushroom.
Cool. So it's in the front yard. Did you get any flack from the neighborhood? Did you get any flack from the commissions, the ANC commissions in that area of the town? Like, what was that whole thing? Because one day it's like it's empty there, and then now there's this tiny house. What challenges you have? when you dropped it right there in the front?
I mean, you have to go through the normal stuff. I had to get a shed permit. Other than that, the only pushback that I got, someone called. It was a torrential rainstorm, and the way these things are fit together, it's like Lego pieces.
Okay.
And we still had the roof open, and I had a tarp over it, but the tarp blew away. It was just a hellish day or night. I can't remember what day. But our permit got, I guess,
Okay.
ruined, for lack of better words. And one of our neighbors, it could have been a neighbor, it could have been anybody, they decided to call. And we did have to stop construction shortly, but all that took was for me to call and give them my permit number. But for the most part, no pushback from the community. People always come up and ask, and I'm always willing to talk to people and kind of educate them on about myself and what I'm doing. So
Now talk about the funding. How much does it cost for a tiny house? Could I buy a tiny house and just plop it out anywhere? You don't gotta give us
uh,
all the secrets or your if you got good credit or not. But let's know. What
at
does
this
a
point,
tiny house cost to put in just to drop it somewhere?
um, I mean, you can go on Amazon now and get them. I mean, it
Okay.
seems like they're more available. Um, I've seen them go. I know this company that we work with. I think their starting is like 25,000. We got it on the extreme discount because ours was a floor model, so it was just kind of as is. And I didn't need a pristine thing. I just needed a proof of concept and something I could
Okay.
modify.
Okay.
But I've seen them start at 25,000. I think I've seen the cheapest one at 16,000. And then there are other places you can kind of just, go on Google and do some research, and you can find, mobile offices and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's not
I mean,
really not
yeah,
too
floor
hard.
models are cheap. I work at a big box store, so I know. Can I get
Yeah,
that one that's out of the package?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And how much
Yeah,
is
I
that
mean,
discount?
if you could find a floor model, that's even better.
What kind of mushrooms are you growing in there? And how do you choose the varieties that you want to grow? What's some of the mushrooms that you're growing?
So right now we have lion's mane, blue oyster, and our shiitake blocks are colonizing now. So those should be ready. I'm looking at them right now. They're going through the
Okay.
popcorning phase.
Okay.
I'm hoping in the next month, 2 months, they'll be ready to go. And then I have a client, it's a supplement company, Earthworker is a local company. We're gonna grow her some turkey tail, so I have some turkey tail going. I really chose the initial mushrooms, just the oyster and the lion's mane, because the barrier to entry was low,
Okay.
and they're pretty forgiving as far as the conditions. Like they don't have to, your conditions don't have to be perfect. Like there's room to make mistakes, and they're forgiving. The more complex mushrooms, not so much. But so far we've been lucky, and it's been a learning experience. The goal is to expand these out and have these pods everywhere, to the point where I can customize them for a particular restaurant or grocery store or whoever our customers are. And if they need something or they want to experiment something, we can customize that
Mhm.
experience for them.
Speaking of that, what is the capacity for mushroom production? I mean, you have this tiny house. You're talking about
Mm-hmm.
now maybe sourcing this out or dropping these pods all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
What is the capacity? How many mushrooms can you grow in this tiny house?
So our first soft opening, our very first grow, we had almost 160 blocks, and we had 158 blocks total, and that wasn't even full to capacity. And the average block that we pulled out was about 2.5 pounds. So you're looking at 300 pounds of mushrooms out of that one pod. And I mean, half of that it's 170 square foot unit. Half of that is like laboratory work and where the battery system for the solar power is. And then the other half, so you're talking 80 square feet, that's just growing space. So we have the capacity to do over 300 pounds weekly. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Oh wow.
It's a lot of work, and I will have to upgrade, stuff like our substrate steamer so we can get the blocks out faster. But we have the capacity to do over 300 pounds weekly.
What does that look like? Do you have a staff? Do you have volunteers? Is you mentioned you was married? Do your wife come in and help you harvest this stuff? How does the production part of that works to get 300 pounds of mushroom out on a weekly basis? If you're doing it on a weekly basis.
We're not doing that capacity. I mean, I hope. I hope we get to that point where I'm struggling
Yeah.
to get 300 pounds a week. Right now, our cycles we break down the way that I have them done now is about 120 pounds a week. So we do our blocks in 60 block cycles.
Okay.
So each block is about 10 pounds. As far as the production is right now, it's just me. As I map this out and I'm gaining more data, and then of course more revenue. That's when I'll have more people, hire more people.
Okay.
My goal is to hire Ward 7 and Ward 8 residents and make them a priority. Again, yes, we grow food, but I tell people all the time this is really about establishing urban agriculture as a viable tool to change and redevelop the community.
Um, I mean, that sounds amazing. I want to commend you on doing all that work. I mean, that sounds like a lot of mushrooms. Now, you harvesting the mushroom, and then what do you do after that? You harvest them, you clean them, and then you packaging. And you telling me you're doing all of that? Nobody's helping you.
Uh, Not really. Like my mom will come past and help me like clean stuff off, but for the most part, it's a lot of late nights, early mornings, um, and I'm just rocking and rolling. I want to make sure whoever steps in and takes over as the farm manager, I can explain to them all the ins and outs, the kinks, and have that laid out for him or her. So it's really about collecting data.
Okay.
Part of this is building the plane as we fly it. You know, um, again, this is a new business, and things happen, and I got to be able to have answers for that when I have
Oh
people come
yes.
in. But yeah, I'm always talking to people that want to volunteer, and I'm about 2 steps away from being able to take on volunteers. I
Okay.
would say 3 or 4 steps from actually hiring the first employees.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, yeah, very excited. We gotta have some mushroom champagne or mushroom wine to celebrate. As you said, wine. Let's go into. I know a bunch of people probably listening and watching. What are some key steps in mushroom cultivation from the spawning part to the harvesting part? How do we start if we want to grow our own mushrooms? How do we start? I mean, of course, we're going to support you, your business, but what if we want to just grow a few? Maybe
If
five
you want to do
plants.
it on your own,
Yeah.
yeah, there are a couple ways you can go about it. So you can either purchase a log if you want to do it where you're not worried about the controlling the climate and temperature. You can buy a log, inoculate it, and put it out in your yard.
Okay.
Um, or you can buy a pre-made bag, and then some of these things you could just sit out and it'll grow by itself. Some people they'll make Martha's tents and put them in the tents, and they control the humidity and the lighting. That's the beautiful thing about mushrooms. Like you can go to a very basic step and do one block enough to feed your family, whatever, and then hopefully you can get 2 or 3 more flushes out of that, and then you can go huge.
Okay.
It's there's no limit. So I mean, for anyone that wants to do it themselves, those are the 2 steps. I would say you can go to a company, get a log, inoculate it yourself, or go to a company like I don't want to really shout out anybody else, but you can go do
Yes.
some research and
Yeah.
buy and purchase pre-made blocks and go from there. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah, we don't want to shout anybody out, only but Eight Folds Farms DC, because we're not getting paid to push those brands right now.
Right, right.
Do you, do you think in the long run, do you think you will offer classes on how to grow mushrooms? That just popped in my head when I'm talking about folks just doing their own. Do you think you might add that as part of your business?
Yeah, I'm looking now to partner with a couple of organizations to bring, some classes, mainly cooking classes, so people would know how to cook with these. I think the biggest question that I get behind, like, why are you so crazy and why did you do this, is how do you cook these? So, I have people all the time come past and do tours. I had a just last week, I think it was last Monday. I had a group of UDC students come out and
Okay.
did some tours and kind of walk them through the process. The goal, hopefully, I can do this by third quarter, is to have a class where people can come in and we'll take some stuff and do some recipes and teach them how to cook.
That sounds exciting. Sign me up. What is the growing environment like? Because like we just talked about folks doing it, planting it outside, but you're growing inside a tiny house. What does that temperature look like? What is the humidity? What does the lighting look like? Is it cold in there? Is it hot in there? Is it dark in the tiny house? Break it down for us.
So yeah, we definitely have to control everything. The cube itself came with windows and all that, like huge windows on the door. So we had to get all that stuff tinted over so it was completely dark inside. And then we use a special blue light spectrum light that mushrooms love. As far as the temperature, I keep it anywhere between 62 and 65 degrees, and then the humidity level anywhere between 85 and 90. Sometimes I'll go a little higher when I initially put the blocks in because they need that humidity. So you have to remember that we are mimicking God's work. Um, so think about it like when it like yesterday, the day before, when it rained really heavy, and then the next day you'll see a mushroom pop up. So we're basically mimicking those conditions.
And in the wintertime, are you still growing and is it still cold in there? Or you got your big coat on, your big hat on, your gloves when you go inside?
So same thing. I try to keep the temperature at a steady level. Um, this winter was definitely challenging. So I want to make sure all your listeners and viewers know that we're off grid. Like there's no hooking into the grid. So we have solar panels.
Okay.
Um, and with that snow this year, it was definitely a challenge getting that stuff out. The little bit of stuff that we did grow for the customers that were still buying.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, because if you're in extreme temperatures, if it's too hot, too cold, like we're drawing more power, and that's the one thing I would say about this. I definitely have learned and gained appreciation of how electricity works and how much we consume on a daily basis. It's crazy.
Mm, what does a light bill look like? What does that electric bill look like? I mean,
We don't. I mean, because we're off grid, we don't have to. We don't answer
oh,
telcos.
oh my God, that's
so,
amazing.
so the only person that I pay is the Lord and Savior himself or
Oh
herself.
wow.
You know.
Come rig
Yeah.
my
So
house. Come rig my house, please.
mhm.
Because I need
I would
that. Oh,
I would definitely, anybody that has good lighting, use solar power.
okay.
And I mean, it's gotten to the point now where you can even hook up your HVAC condenser to have it solar powered. So I mean, take advantage of it. DC has a lot of programs as far as like free solar, and you'll be surprised just on a sustainability level. That's one of the things that I make sure that we maintain that everything is clean energy. There's no waste. I mean, even to the point where we are selling our old blocks to farms so they can use it for composting. I sold some blocks to a worm farm out in Solomon,
Oh
Maryland.
wow.
So she uses the blocks for her. It's called Lumbry Worms and Garden. So for her production, she feeds the worms the substrate, and they love it. And then we partnered with Harvest to Health Farm Collective. He took out a lot of blocks just to test out. So we're on that program too. So I'm mimicking what they do. There's a program in Dallas that does the same thing. So they give the old substrate blocks to a food hub in Dallas, and you can take the substrate blocks and use it either directly in the soil. You can use it for composting.
Hmm.
We're gonna add a probiotic to it, and you can even use it mixed into livestock feed.
Oh wow. Two
Yeah,
questions still
what
around
the
that.
old people say, from the Rudy to the
Yeah,
Tootie.
two questions around that. one, this is not so much about the mushroom, but learning that electricity and being off grid. Do you do off grid at home? Are you off the grid at home in your regular home? Are you not paying electric bill at home? That's one.
Yeah, I'm off grid at home
Oh
too,
wow,
as well.
that's really
Electric
really.
bill is definitely reduced. Again, it's one of those things like you because I've gone through the process of solar and putting this proof of concept together. Like before, I would just pay my electric bill and not really think about it,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, okay, it's reduced. But now I understand kilowatt hours, and when something's running, like you just have a better understanding of it. I mean, same thing with just being in the urban ag space and talking to people
Mm-hmm.
over the last 7, 8 years. Just your knowledge and understanding of the supply chain and where your food comes from. Just get a better knowledge.
That's what's up. And how do you assure the quality of your mushrooms and the safety of your mushrooms by growing in this tiny house? What's some of the challenges?
So, so with anybody that's growing mushrooms, contamination is a big thing. Like you have to keep everything clean. It doesn't have to be sterile, but it definitely has to be clean because you're at risk of contamination throughout that process. Um, I give you an example. So far we've done almost 1,000 bags, I think,
Okay.
and I think I've only had contamination in 2 or 3. But because at that time I'm logging everything,
Mm-hmm.
um, that contamination came from our substrate being too wet.
Okay.
So that was an environment that fungus outside of the fungus that we want. It loves that environment. So you'll see that kind of green mold kind of growing in the
Mm-hmm.
bag. Um, but because I've been logging everything, and this is why I don't have employees right away. I just kind of want to hit those, make sure my process is as thorough as possible.
Okay.
But to go back to answer the question, everything has to be very clean. And I mean, I'm constantly cleaning in my workspace and then constantly cleaning in the cube. That lab space, I hit with UV light,
Okay.
clean it constantly, make sure everything is clean in there. There's a laminar flow hood that I work under when I'm taking the grain spawn and adding it to the substrate. So contamination is always going to be a huge step. So you talk to any mushroom farmer, they will tell you there's always constant cleaning and always like mindful of contaminants.
Okay. So you said you had a tour last week. So those folks, did they come inside the space, and then when they afterwards, did you have to clean the space after several people been in the facility? Or not really?
They didn't really walk around too much
Okay.
inside. Um, they might stepped in for a second, then right after I'm going in there and I'm mopping and cleaning. But that's just normal stuff that I would
Normal
do anyway.
procedure.
As far as like people touching the blocks and stuff, I make sure that their hands, are
Okay.
sanitized. And they took a couple pictures with the blocks, but I make sure everything, for the most part, other than myself, there are not too many people that are constantly in and out of
Okay.
the space.
Cool. Is there any pests? Do you know, like when you growing food outside, sometimes there's all these worms and butterflies laying eggs on it. Do the mushrooms get any pests on it?
Uh, no, no,
No.
no. I mean, I had like normal, like spiders, like crawling in,
Okay.
trying to get into the cube. But I mean, that's something that's you just kind of shoo them away. I'm a Buddhist. I don't kill things.
Okay.
Um, but
That's
there's no pest. It's just like being in the
okay.
house. There's nothing there, and the environment is so clean that nothing, as far as that, I don't have
Okay.
to worry about that.
Cool. Cool. How do we ensure mushroom farming practices are sustainable for eightfold farms? How are you practicing for
Sustainability.
sustainability? Mm-hmm.
One, again, we're off grid, so we're using clean energy. The next iteration of the pod is adding in rainwater capture.
Okay.
Um, so that way we can clean it, filter it, and use it for our humidifying system and any cleaning that we do. And then the next step too is just where we're
Okay.
located. We're within 10 to 20 miles of our customer base. So our carbon footprint is very low. Right now, I'm working with a company that optimizes logistic routes. My next step is to bring on, again, Ward 7 and Ward 8 residents. I've been working with, the Department of Veteran Affairs in DC, and looking to recruit some veterans and other people
Okay.
that will become drivers. So what we're doing is we're going to mimic the Uber Eats, DoorDash model, where we kind of call out to people, they use their cars, and they make deliveries, whether it be the B2C. For those who don't know, it's business to consumer, or to the B2B side, which is business to business, our wholesale side.
Mm.
So those are the ways that we really are consciously, and then again, selling those used blocks back to farmers, so everything
Okay.
goes back into the land, because the substrate itself is just 50% oak and then 50% soil hull. Outside of the plastic bags that we use, everything is, I mean, it goes back into the earth, and we make sure our carbon footprint is very, very low.
Okay. And you talk about plastic bags. Are you looking into like recyclable bags or anything like that down the line as well to go back into the earth?
I have heard of bags that are recyclable. I don't know. I will have to do some research on
Okay.
them and get my hands on some to see how they affect the growth. Um,
Okay.
so I'm not. I mean, that's something that is a
Okay.
possibility.
Cool. Let's go. I covered that part of the farming part. I want to get into some like what are the benefits of eating mushrooms, and I want to do some marketing stuff. And then of course I'm going to end with the future plans are. So don't give too much. But what are some of the benefits of eating eight farms folds mushrooms?
So lion's mane, it's known. It has a few names.
Okay.
Some of them, lion's mane, we call pom poms. There's like a ton of names for lion's mane, but it is known as the smart mushroom.
Okay.
And outside, just the health benefits in itself, it's a nootropic. So it helps stimulate neural growth factor. And there are two chemicals in your brain that kind of help you with focus and memory. And there have been studies done on how Alzheimer's and how that affects the brain.
Okay.
So anyone that's concerned, or not concerned, but they're really focused in on their brain health, lion's mane is the
Okay.
way to go. Shiitake and blue oysters have been known to lower blood pressure. It's been studies in cancer. All mushrooms that we grow, anti-inflammatory. So there's some huge health benefits. As far as like flavor profile, for anybody that um, they're stepping into that vegan vegetarian life, or for those that just kind of like, my diet changes all the
Okay.
time. I don't have a constant diet, but like if you're in that mode, like lion's mane mimics like lobster,
Okay.
crab, blue oyster, they'll definitely mimic beef, kind of steak. Lion's mane can mimic chicken. Shiitake definitely has that meaty flavor as well.
Okay. What is your favorite mushroom? Let's get into that. What is your favorite one? Well, it's two things. What's your favorite one to grow, and which one is your favorite to consume?
Oh man, people will ask me this, and they still ask me this about uh, wine. I'm a sommelier, so I'm the guy that sticks his nose in the glass, and I
Okay.
can tell
Okay.
you where it's grown from. Wine expert. And people will ask me all the time, "What's your favorite wine?" And I would give you the same
Okay.
answer. that
All of them.
I like it all right now.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't, like, I'm not in any particular mode, and at this point, I'm just having fun experimenting with stuff.
Okay.
I'm going to start growing turkey tail. I have some spawn on the way, and I love to experiment with some teas and stuff like that. So
Teas and coffee. I'm drinking some mushroom coffee now. To get energized today. What is the easiest mushroom to grow so far
the
that you
easiest,
experienced?
the easiest by far, blue
Okay.
oyster. Like, you can, and I say that because it's a very forgiving mushroom. At the same time, it's aggressive. So when you put the spawn in the bag, it's gonna go. If it doesn't go, like, you've done something wrong with your substrate,
Okay.
or there's some contamination there that's bad. So I would say by far that's the easiest to grow. Lion's mane is easy too.
Okay, cool.
Those are good entry points for anybody that wants to grow at home.
Okay, so if I fast forward, if I had a time machine and I went up 30 minutes, it would be noontime. I'm hungry. What are you
Mhm.
cooking me?
I did. You know what's really dope? I did a and my wife, she, God bless her soul, because I play these cruel jokes, and I was like, "Hey, you want some fried chicken?" She goes, "Yeah,"
Oh
and
no.
I go and I'll get some oyster mushrooms and I'll do fried chicken. So I think that's the easiest, like,
Okay.
kind of fun thing to do. You know, you get your batter and all that stuff, and it comes out really good,
So
and it tastes just like fried.
so fried chicken, well, fried mushroom chicken, so to speak.
Yeah,
What is
how would you do oysters
okay?
in like a chicken fry?
What's the steps? Are we doing a wet batter and a dry batter, or are we just doing a dry batter? We using some local spices. What we doing?
No, definitely dry, and then hit it with the egg batter, and then go into the pan. If you go on our Instagram page, I think I have some footage there,
Okay.
kind of showing you the steps.
Okay.
And I'm starting a blog post soon.
Okay.
The first blog would definitely be an introductory blog to kind of tell you a little bit about myself, how the farm got started. But then we're gonna do one where I give out recipes, and hopefully it won't be like the one. You know, I hate when you go and you're trying to find a recipe and it has like that long, like,
Yeah.
you know, diatribe about whatever, like how they tripped over a wagon one day and they got inspired to eat asparagus or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I hate that. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna make these
Yeah.
very like short, to the point, where you can get the recipe. I'll give you like a small blurb about whatever, like the cooking steps and whatever, but it'll be straight to the point. You can get the recipes off the website.
Okay, I like that because that's going to lead into my next question. How do you market and sell your mushrooms? I think one of the things that urban farmers or black farmers miss sometimes is that recipe and giving too much information. I'm all about making you having some condensed cards or condensed things on, like you said, your website, your blog. This is the easy step. Like when I cook food and I show folks how I cook food, I want three ingredients and three steps, not a whole long thing. You gotta pause the book or the audio book to get the recipe, something simple.
Right.
But how do you market and sell your mushrooms?
I mean, honestly, like, I've had a lot of press. I don't want it to sound crazy, but just because we're new and never seen anything like that, like this in the city, we've gotten a lot of press. NBC, Axios, just WUSA 9,
Hmm.
East of the River magazine. I was a winner at DSLBD Dream Pitch competition. I won that.
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff is just free, like press. It has been a godsend. Word of mouth has been a godsend. Um, I haven't spent any real marketing money, but revving up going into next year. That's the goal, to grow out our direct to consumer side. So I know I'm gonna have to spend some marketing dollars there.
Okay.
So
I mean, free
other
press
than,
is good. So
oh
congratulations on
yeah,
that and running with it. You know what I'm saying? And taking full advantage of that because then that is putting the word out there. Especially like if anybody drove down Elvin's Road and see that tiny house, everybody's gonna say, "What in the world is that?" So that is good free press. So I commend you on that and
yeah,
keep working.
definitely. Definitely, like it's that's the one thing I've noticed with a lot of farmers. I've talked to a few, and they have like this great produce. They have, you know, uh, great access to land and stuff, and they just don't market it
Hmm.
correctly. And I'm like, oh, you could like be in so many places, and a lot of times people just don't think
Oh
that
yeah.
way, and that's okay,
Yeah, and I
and
think
that's
it's
okay.
okay too. I think most, I would say most, well, the urban farmers or black farmers, because we both black. This is Black Gardener Talk. I feel like we always focusing on the production part of it, the growing part of it, and not really like going into that marketing part. And I feel like that's where we need folks. You know, in the urban ag area, teaming up with students and people who have a working relationship with the media so we
Right.
can get it out there. My background is media. Most people don't know that, I come from a journalistic background. You know what I'm saying? My degree is
Right.
in broadcast journalism and my master's is in journalism. So I know those areas. And so when I do get pressed, people are like, how he get pressed? You know what I'm saying? But the secret is I've
Right.
always been in that world, but I wish more people would focus on that and take advantage of it because you have been on a number of shows and that's spreaded your word about what you're doing. So
Right.
that's a good thing.
And I would say like we have we're walking around with a marketing tool in our hand
Hmm.
every day, and some of these farmers, they're, to be honest, I mean they're a little older and they're not as technically sound or savvy. But I mean you have Instagram, you have Facebook,
Hmm.
you have TikTok, you have Snapchat, you have all the fan base, you have all these tools, and it's really about taking advantage of that tool. I started selling this my company before I had anything built, before I had one mushroom
Hmm.
cultivated.
Wow.
I put it out in the world that this is what we're doing. And the very first piece of press that I ever got was through City Paper in 2020, right before the pandemic
Okay.
hit. And this is before anything was built, before
Any mushrooms was grown.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
but that's
that's amazing right there. And
but
you
that's how my mind works.
yeah.
It's like you have to kind of like, for a very, 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 very short time, I dabbled in music, and
Okay.
they have rollouts, so they'll roll things out to let you know that stuff is coming. And that's where my brain was. I
Mhm.
have to do a rollout so people know what's coming and build up some anticipation.
Agree. I think we're on the same page. I also did some music stuff. I still do music. My company is gardening and beats on the music side. I'm always thinking like that. I always feel like I think way ahead of people sometimes. Like the road out. Even like this podcast, I'm calling this season five. Like season five, that's television talk. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And before
right.
I go into season six, there's gonna be a rollout. This is some of the people I'm looking at. This is how it's gonna go down. Blah blah blah. So I think that plays a good part in what you're doing. So when you do have to spend those marketing dollars, I feel like you might not have to spend as much because you already got that built-in press somewhat. Do you sell directly to consumers, restaurants, or any retailers at this point? Yeah.
So our biggest revenue right now comes from wholesaling. Um, we're in a Michelin star restaurant, Oyster. For those that don't know what Michelin star means, these these starred restaurants are considered the best in the world. They use the best ingredients. So we have been honored to supply Oyster with mushrooms. Hanks on the Wharf.
Okay.
Um, there's a online platform called the People's Market. The founder Brandon Starks is amazing. He is he has a delivery service where he gets a lot of the produce from black farmers in the area, and he brings it directly to your door. He's like the Uber Eats, DoorDash of
Okay.
fresh
Shout
food.
out to
We work with,
Brandon. I know
yeah, Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon is a good young man. Um, Dreaming Out Loud, we work with them. Earthworker, there's a local supplement company. Joy is again a lovely founder, and she's doing some amazing things with natural products. So she uses our lion's mane. We're growing some turkey tail for her. She's also used our blue oyster. So um, we're working with that. I don't know if I should say anything, but there is. I'll just say it anyway. Because if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I did have a conversation with Cedar Hill Hospital.
Okay.
So it's a possibility that our mushrooms will be used on their vegan vegetarian menu.
It's coming.
That'll be huge for
It's
us.
gonna happen.
Yeah, that'll be huge for us as
Mhm.
well. They're slated to open, I think, in the next couple of weeks. So
I
we'll
think
see
it's
what
the
happens.
19th they should be opening. All next week is like block parties, ribbon cutting. I'll be there. Hopefully you'll be there. Um, but yeah. Show this
Yeah, and then
packaging. Go ahead. And then I want you to
and
show
then
the
we do
packaging.
we do do direct to consumer. So if you
Okay.
go onto our website, www.eightfoldfarmsdc.com, you'll see, you can buy whatever we have available. I try to open it up. Our cycle really just started, so a lot of stuff is like pre-ordered. I'm getting ready to lift all that stuff because we are getting into that rotation where we're going to have stuff all the time. It's always going to be here. So you can get dehydrated, fresh, powdered forms of our mushrooms as well. And then I just set up the CSA programming as well. So if you're a local gardener and you want to use some blocks for your substrate, you can use the blocks. And then we have the CSA program set up. There's 3 tiers. There's A and C council member, and then the mayoral package, where we'll bring you mushrooms weekly. Just subscribe and you pay monthly. As far as that, yeah, this is our cool packaging. This is what our dehydrated and our powdered stuff comes in. So you can see what it is here, and then just on the back we have some of the health benefits, and then the directions on like rehydrating or using it in powder. So I think one of the questions down here, so somebody was asking about how do you use the lion's mane.
I can't see this question, so if you see some, shout them out and then give the answer, because I can't see anything.
Yeah, I think growing in my zone. I think they follow us. Or maybe they follow you. I don't know. I don't know too much. But they were asking how do you use the lion's mane. If you're getting our powder, I would say you can steep it, and then you want to siphon off any of the powder because ours is 100% natural. The only other way I can get it more soluble is to use a dry freezer, which hopefully we can get within the next 6 months or so. But you're going to take that, steep it. Don't boil the water, but you want to get a nice constant heat and let it sit. The longer you sit, the more that hot water extraction is going to happen. And then you can use that liquid as a tea. You can pour it into your coffee. You can use a tea bag. Like I love adding, I'll do the same thing. I have a, what do you call it, French press. And I'll take some of the lion's mane powder. I'll let it sit in there and steep. And I'll press it down, pour off the liquid. I'll heat that liquid back up, and then I'll add like chai tea to it. So that's one way you can use it.
And what about cooking? Cooking it.
Cooking wise, I mean, you can go simple.
Okay.
And I did a demo at Meet the Maker, and all I did was add little olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, and serve it up that way. You can make crab cakes with lion's mane.
Tell us about it. I want a crab cake made from lion's mane. What's the steps?
It's pretty simple.
What are we putting in it? Are we putting egg in it, or are we not putting egg in it?
If you're vegan, you can use a vegan option and use like a vegan egg substitute. But yeah, you would do the same exact steps that you would to make a normal regular crab cake. You just want to make sure you're peeling peeling the fresh lion's mane, so it kind of has that crab texture and look. Again, if you go on our Instagram page, you'll see me making them. And you make them into little patties like you would, and then you can fry them or broil them or bake them. I fry the ones that I make.
Air fryer? Can we do it in an air fryer?
I haven't, but I'm sure you can.
I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, it's just another cooking meeting. As long as you have some heat, you can cook it. Yeah.
That's what's up. Is there any other places that we could get some of your mushrooms like today? Say I wanted to get some lion's mane. Are you at farmers markets out there, or are you in front of the tiny house with a stand? Can we just come to you? Like, what does that process look like other than like getting online or ordering? Can we see you in person somewhere and grab some? Can we go down to Dreaming Out Loud and a new facility which opens up sometime in June? Can we see you down there selling these mushrooms?
I would say go to the People's Market. We will be working with Dreaming Out Loud.
Okay.
Then we will be in some farmers market. So I'm looking at where we're going to be. One of the options may be the Black and Forth market on Sundays. And then I'm looking at some other places. I would love to create something that's in the neighborhood for the neighborhood. A lot of these farmers markets, it's kind of tough. Well, it's not tough. Let me. How can I say this? people like you and me aren't necessarily always there, but I want to bring everything directly to the community, to
Okay.
the neighborhood. So one of the things I will be working on is creating something that's in the neighborhood.
Okay. Sounds good. I mean, I might have an opportunity for you to do some stuff at the only grocery store in Ward 8. Um, so yeah, I'll be in touch with you about that pretty
Mhm.
soon. So
I
what is
think
the
Natural Level had a
oh go
question.
ahead
Is
if
there
she
any?
has it. I can't see any
Oh,
questions on it.
I don't know if you. I just yeah, why are lines mains on pre-order? Yeah, so we just started the Natural Lover. The our cycle, our 2025 cycle, just started. So we're revving up production and we're getting into the flow of things. They're going to be taken off of pre-order very shortly. I just want to make sure that at this point where we have enough for our wholesale customers and enough for the direct to consumer. So it should be lifted in the next week or two.
That sounds good. If you do have questions, you can send them. Hopefully, JR can see them because I cannot see them. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with Instagram. This is the second time that this happened, and it's going to be a whole shit show afterwards because then I have to go in and save it from the archives and pull
Right.
it out and edit it together to make a really great show that's going to be on all streaming platforms probably tomorrow. So I'll make sure that you get that. But I have about three more questions. One is I know
Yeah.
hydroponic and aquaponics. Are you doing anything with mushrooms around hydroponics and or aquaponics, or is that something that's viable as well?
No, people always ask that. They like if I'm growing them hydroponically. From everything that I know about the mushrooms that I grow, they are wood-eating mushrooms. So you have they're different species of types of mushrooms that do different things uh, in nature. So you have some that are um, like they're parasites. So you have some
Mm-hmm.
parasitic mushrooms. They live off of other things. You have some that are decomposers. So the species that I currently grow are decomposers. They eat dead wood.
Okay.
And there's nothing like from what I've studied so far. I haven't seen anything that deals with hydroponics or aquaponics
Okay. Cool.
in
And
regards to
then
mushrooms.
another good question I always ask everybody that comes on the show: how has mushroom farming changed you since you first started?
Uh, that's a good question. I don't know. I smell like mushrooms all the time.
That could be a good
That's
thing.
a
That
good
could be a
thing.
bad thing, depending on who you're
I think
around.
it's a horrible thing. Like I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, what is that? It smell like mushroom. Just because I'm around spores and stuff all the time. Honestly, the biggest thing is just being an entrepreneur, man, and doing something on my own. It's really transformed me. I'm definitely lose a lot of sleep, but I don't mind it because I love building things. I love building businesses. I love business in itself. A a large part of my career when I was in the restaurant business was, looking at P&Ls and creating budgets and
Okay.
managing budgets. So um, just being
And you
an
seem to love
entrepreneur.
it. You seem to love when I go past you, I see you out there, you really into it. So it seems like you really love what you're doing. So that is a good thing when you can love what you're doing as a job.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a labor of love, man. Like if you're gonna do something, and I tell people all the time, like your biggest asset in the world is time. And if you're gonna do something and waste your time, why do it? Like we're not promised tomorrow,
Yes.
and I'm definitely not getting any younger, so I don't have time to waste.
That's one of my I have two more questions. This question is, do you think mushrooms could play a major role in the transitioning of a sustainable food system or a more sustainable food system using just growing mushrooms, period? Maybe cutting
Yes,
out.
I, I I would say that mushrooms are very versatile, and I mean, there's some mushrooms that have been used to clean up oil spills, right?
Okay.
Again, like they have so many purposes in nature. You have mushrooms that are symbiotic with trees, and they help them gather up nutrients out of the ground. Like I said, you have some that are parasitic, and you have some that are decomposers. At this stage of the game, there are companies that make light fixtures out of mushroom mycelium. There are companies that make to-go cups and plates out of mushrooms and mushroom mycelium. So the possibilities are endless. I mean, there's a lot of stuff outside of just growing them to eat. There's a lot of things, a lot of purposes, and a lot of usages that we need to take advantage of. And at this stage, I always tell people too, like at some point in time, you have to come home. And when I say that, I mean come back home to Mother Nature. We have gotten to a point where we're so outside of ourselves or outside of nature, we don't even recognize the fact that we're animals ourselves.
Yes,
You know?
I agree.
So at some point in time, we're gonna have to come home, and mushrooms will definitely be a big part of it.
Cool. That leads me to my last and final question. What is the future plans for the farm? We went over some of that stuff, but just sum
Mhm.
it up. You got 2 minutes. You can talk for 2 minutes to sum up what the future
So,
plans for Eightfold
so
Farm
the
DC.
yeah, yeah. So the largest thing is to scale this up. After 2025, I would love to put 2 of these pods up a year. Um, I, I am working on a uh, coffee line soon, so you'll be a guinea pig
Okay.
for that. So coffee line. I've talked to a local brewer about doing a beer.
That would
Um,
be good.
that's one of the things too. And then for Eightfold Farms in total, outside of the mushrooms, phase two for us would be doing in-ground farming, rooftop gardening, um, and using that satellite system like Curtis Stone, like I spoke about earlier, where we grow, arugula and other quick crops for commercial usage. So the goal is really to expand and scale the company. The overall vision is to seamlessly blend the agrarian and the urban world, especially in Ward 7 and Ward 8. My goal is to make Ward 7 and Ward 8 the agricultural center of DC, and to really change how people view how cities are looked at. And DC has had a history of being an example to the other parts of the nation and to the world. Sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. Um, but I really want us to be the city of the future. And one of the things that we're doing is we're sharing any data that we have with city planners and policymakers, architects, developers, to show them that this is a viable industry, and really change the economic scale of Ward 7 and Ward 8, and promote uh, self-sufficiency.
I love it. I love it, JR. I really love that. I mean, I'm for you. I don't live in DC, but I'm rooting for Ward 7 and Ward 8 and all the community folks over there, all the folks over there. Um, so yeah, I want to commend you. I know it's gonna happen. You seem like a go-getter. I mean, you gone from a tiny house to now marketing this stuff, great packaging. So I'm sure that you will make that a winner. If I can be a part of it, I'm definitely gonna be there for you. I'm gonna ride with you on that. But thank you for joining me this morning. Sorry about all the hiccups, but you know how technology is. Um, if folks, you know how I like to do. I like to say, live your life healthy, free from negativity, and as always, Black people, we gotta stay dope. All right, peace. Have a good one.
You too,
All right.
brother.